right, a little technical difficulties on this Friday, but it's Friday, y'all. We have made it,
Friday.
and let's talk 13 Takes the Field.
Oh, yeah.
It's Bandtober.
It's Bandtober, which means everything, everywhere, all at once for these Michigan marching bands that are performing in the MCBA. That's the Michigan Competing Band Association. So, of course, as it suggests there on the screen, we caught up with the Sparta marching band. Not only are they putting the finishing touches on their performance that they hope will take them to Ford Field, but they're also getting ready to host their own qualifying round tomorrow.
5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It's crunch time in Sparta.
They call it Bandtober.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
The high school marching band working hard to learn their last bit of show on the field, guided by director Sam Beeson.
Same assignment. Set. We are starting to set our closer on the field, so our last movement of the show. We're just figuring out spots where we're going, how many counts we have to get there. Any weird things like turns and instrument moves, things like that. So we're really excited to finalize our product.
But it's a long way to get to that finished product. Planning for their show, called Blue Shades, started before the last school year was even over. Center snare drum and senior Starlight Potter.
I'm very excited to be here.
Leading the drum line.
Our first rehearsal was back in May for the percussionists. That was still when I was in 11th grade. Band camp, it's like 9 to 6 for the whole week.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, we work a lot.
From band camp in the summer to rehearsals during school in the fall, Woodwind captain Jenna Gardner says they're making progress on getting their show on the field piece by piece, but putting it all together.
Then it gets a little bit more difficult, but I've definitely seen us growing in that sense. As a clarinet, we have a lot of melody, so there's some parts that it's like, oh, this is kind of difficult, but we're getting through it.
5, 6, 1.
The band working hard to show off as they host their qualifying competition Saturday, and of course to show off in November at Ford Field.
They're very driven individuals, and I'm proud of them. I think the best thing that the community can do to support marching band is show up to competitions, even if you don't know what it's about.
Just show up and just kind of support them.
For
and
sure.
Get this, there are going to be 18 bands at Sparta High School tomorrow for the qualifying round. Of course, this is kind of what puts them in order for the prelims. The prelims is that last round before you get to the state finals. And prelims, only the top 10 bands in each flight, again, there are 5 of them, they make it on to the state finals on November 1st in Ford Field. So very, very exciting to see Sparta kind of putting their last finishing touches on everything. And we should mention tomorrow's big competition there at Sparta. The gates open at 2:30. The first band taking the field around 3:45, which is Buchanan High School. So very excited to see them kind of strut their stuff. All 18 bands.
Yeah, I mean, really exciting stuff across the area. And I know you guys that have been doing 13 Takes the Field, really exciting being a part of this. Also, too, having background yourself, you and Amber with marching band.
Speaking of Amber, she's joining us live this morning from Sparta High School to kind of give us the rundown before we head into this round of the qualifiers. Of course, a lot of big bands out there and some pretty great scores that we've seen so far, Amber.
Yeah, absolutely, Tanner. Now, you mentioned it too, but there's going to be 18 bands taking the field here at Sparta High School tomorrow. So it all starts tomorrow. There's a lot of bands that are going to be competing that didn't compete last weekend. So for many, this is going to be the very first state qualifying competition of the season. Now, with that being said, last week was the beginning of those qualifying competitions. So let's talk about some of these scores because there is quite a bit of a score breakdown here, especially when it comes to Flight 5. But first, let's talk about what bands were there. Now, especially the scores that were received were from Flights 1, 3, and 5. That was for the Kent City Invitational, hosted at Cedar Springs High School. It is worth noting that Jenison High School Marching Band, which is in Flight 2, they were also at the competition, but they did not receive a score last weekend due to a medical emergency in the stands that stopped their performance. We've seen reports online saying that person is now okay, which is of course some great news. Now, there were multiple schools that were not able to participate in last weekend's Invitational, a lot of that largely due to homecoming games and dances last weekend. Many of those bands, though, will be competing tomorrow night right here in Sparta. Now for a score update following the first state qualifying competition of the season, starting with Flight 1, Hudsonville. They were the only flight Flight 1 band that took the field in Cedar Springs last Saturday, but a competition on the east side of the state placed Walled Lake in first for the flight and Lake Orion in second, with Hudsonville's marching band following in third for the weekend. So moving on to Flight 3, some of those scores, both Kent City Invitational and the Lake Orion Invitational on the east side had only one band competing in Flight 3 for each competition. Locally, Holland came out on top with Mount Pleasant receiving a score and Lake Orion to follow. Now last up, let's talk about Flight 5 because there were 8 West Michigan marching bands that competed in that flight. Belding came out on top with a score of 81.2. Newaygo placed in second with Tri-County after that. Next was Kent City, then Allegan, then Comstock Park. Coloma placed in 7th and Orchard View came in 8th. No Flight 5 bands performed in Lake Orion, the Lake Orion Invitational for last weekend. So 18 bands are taking the field heading into tomorrow. Let's talk about the weather that they're going to be experiencing. Definitely a little bit of a chill in the air, temperatures that are largely in the 60s. That's going to be during the afternoon as those bands are arriving and really starting to perform. But by the time that the night is wrapping up, getting into final awards, those are going to be starting at 9:15. Temperatures are falling down into the 50s, so it's going to be pretty chilly by the time that they are accepting those final awards and heading home for the night. It's going to be interesting to see where a lot of those bands come out, though, in the end of all of this. Exciting stuff, and of course we'll keep you updated as we head into the next multiple weeks approaching state finals. But right now, live in Sparta, I'm meteorologist Amber Twardy.
Amber, thank you. Really exciting stuff. I know it's a big weekend for the band members,
Yes.
so a whole lot going on.
A whole lot going on. And, you know, it's only just getting started, like the kind of quote-unquote madness of MCBA, because, again, this is our second round of qualifiers. Next week, we'll start to move into the prelims, which that's where things get a little bit more intense before we move on to November 1st in the state finals. So, yeah, we've been watching these bands, and every band that we visited really has put out all the stops, and we're excited to see what the finished products are for all of these bands.
Yeah. I was unfamiliar kind of with the whole process, so it's been fun to learn about it with you and Amber. It's been nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sounds good. Amber, thank you so much.